Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock, Drogheda. Back in January, there were two men that were in a boat with a dog, and their boat capsized, and they were found clinging to a buoy, or a buoy as they call them in America, one of those floating things, and they were clinging to it for dear life near Gadsden Point in Tampa Bay, Florida. They were rescued, thank goodness, but they had been in this small boat whenever a cruise ship had passed by. And what had happened was, as the cruise ship goes through the water, it produces a wake, a huge wave going behind it that had then hit the small boat, caused it to capsize, and it nearly cost the lives of these two men, and yet they and their dog were thankfully saved. Now, thousands of people were on that cruise ship, and they were doing what people do on cruise ships. They were eating, they were drinking, they were walking on the deck, they were singing and dancing and climbing walls and go-karts racing around the top and everything else, water slides, all the rest of it. They were doing all of that stuff blissfully unaware that their passage through the water had nearly cost the lives of others. You know, sometimes we think that the way we live our life, it's up to us, it's our life, I live it how I want to, and you know what, if it all turns out bad, well, that's down to me. The problem is that our lives have effects on others. And as I think of that cruise ship sailing through the water, creating this huge wave that affects everyone else round about, in a real sense, that's what happens with our lives. Everything we do, everything we say affects others. Now, we tend to miss that because we're so focused upon ourselves. But if we took time to think about how our actions impact on other people, I believe it would greatly change the way that we live our lives. And as Christians, this is so important. Because sometimes we can really be trying to bring people to Jesus, sharing the gospel with them. But what about if the way we behave is creating a wake behind us that then has terrible effects on people's lives and even turns them away from the gospel of Jesus Christ? I remember years ago I had to rent a vehicle. And I was in Drogheda, and I was at the car rental place. And to be honest, the girl working behind the desk was not that good at her job, and she was messing everything up. What should have been a simple procedure was taken forever. She couldn't find the right files on the computer, this, that, on the other. And I was getting, I'd been having a bad day anyway up to this point, and I was really getting frustrated, and I'm just not showing it. I'm burning up on the inside, and I'm thinking, I don't want to lose it here. But I was very near breaking point. It had been a lot of things had already gone wrong that day. I was way behind time. I needed to get away quickly, get other stuff done. We had to rent this vehicle. We had to get down to the port to get on a car ferry, cross over to Britain. And this was just taking forever. And finally got to the point where she says, okay, I'll now to get all your details. And she says, you got your credit card there. I hand the credit card, and it was a church purchase, so it was the church credit card. And she looked at it. Oh, Solid Rock. She said, well, what's that? I said, well, it's a church. Oh, said, oh, Solid Rock Church. She said, oh, yeah, it's at Nick Park's place. And I said, yeah, well, actually, look at the name on the card. I'm Nick Park. And she said, oh, you know what? My cousin's been talking to me. She's been telling me I've got to go out and try out that church. Oh, I'm so glad I've met you. And now I've met you and you seem really nice. I'll come along. I'll visit the church. I want to tell you, I walked out the door of that place absolutely thanking God that I didn't lose it. Because imagine if I had behaved in a way that was abrupt or a way that was mean, and then she'd learned I was the pastor of the church that she had been invited to by her relative. She wouldn't have darkened the doors of our church. She wouldn't have gone near us. So we never know how we talk, how we behave, how we act is going to affect other people. We never know who's watching. We never know what impact it is having on others. Don't be like the people on that cruise ship, just steaming ahead without a care in the world. You know what? We need to think about our actions and our words, because there's life and death in what we say and what we do. God bless you today in Jesus' name. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.